Hey, what is going on, everybody? ScottDogGaming here. Thank you very much for joining us. As you can see, we're back. We're playing some more Football Manager, our 2020 Let's Play. Quick confession, I have already recorded this once and the audio messed up. So we're re-recording the audio after the event. So just so everyone's aware. We're going to have a quick catch up as to where we got to. We got promoted to the Premier League last season. Let's go through the history because obviously we've had the off season and we're back ready to play our first game in the Premier League. Let's have a look at transfers. We've got Danasian, who left for Motherwell, 250 grand. Not a bad little bit of money for him. And then we had Amrabat, who also left, mainly because I couldn't say his name. No, because he wanted to leave. But we've got about £10 million for him, potentially increasing. And Medan, McMaster, and Dembele all going out on loan. And then Ivy wanted to leave because we wouldn't pay him more money. And we managed to get £8 million for Stoke for him. So next, let's have a look at the players we signed. Espen Heimbach we brought in from Mould. And I'm not sure if it's Mould or Mouldy. I think it's Mould. From Norway. And he's a left winger. It looks like he's got potential. The scouts seem to think he's got ability. He's only half a star worse than Serrano, so he's got a lot of potential. We also got Levesque here, who also came in from Mould. A central midfielder this time. Again, looks like he's got potential. The problem is these players are going to be expected to at least play 1 or 2 games in the Premier League for us. So next up we signed Bellingham, who is a 19-year-old English player from Birmingham. We played against him a couple of times last season. He's actually a central midfielder. We've signed him to play him on the right wing, but at some point we will look to buy a right winger to then be able to play Bellingham in the middle. But £13 million, £13.5 million, not a horrendous amount of money this day and age. I'm hoping he's got the potential to really do a great job for us. But as you can see, he looks like he's going to be okay. He's got a lot of pace and did okay last season for Birmingham. Liam Morrison we signed from Bayern Munich on loan. He's a centre half and we just brought him in for cover. However, we also went out and brought big in Alessandro Bastoni, a 6'3" centre half from Inter, and I'm kind of hoping that he will be able to do a really good job for us. His stats look very good. Could do with a little bit more pace, admittedly. He's 23 years old, kind of reaching that point where his development is going to slow. So we need to make sure that we get him playing in the Premier League. He has got a buyout clause, so we just need to be a little bit wary about that. But I think he looks like he's going to be good for us. I will say that he got injured in the first game that he played against AFC Sudbury. Next up, we've got Camargo, who came from Panama. We actually signed him in the back end of last season, but he didn't join us until this season. Midfielder looks like he's going to be okay. And again, a little bit of potential, a little less than the 2 we've signed from Norway, but hopefully he can do a pretty good job for us as well. Anton Mitev is a Bulgarian centre-half, 18 years old, 5'10". We like our short centre-halves around here. Hopefully he's still growing. I'm guessing not. But it looks like he needs some work and some improvement of his marking. But I will say that he has got potential. He looks like he could turn into a reasonable player. A little bit worried about his size, a little bit worried about his strength, but he's young. Hopefully we can do a good job. We did pay £4 million for him. He's currently valued at 2.1, so we need to work on that. But then to accommodate for that, we also signed Calderon, who came on a free. But what I'd say about that is he's costing us a lot of money wage-wise. But hopefully he can come in and do a good job for us as a freebie. And we signed him to play defensive midfielder, but he can play centre-half as well. We might need him considering Bastoni is injured. And then last of all, we got Tuchameni, who came in from Arsenal on loan. Again, he's there for cover. And that's what I've tried to do differently this season. What I've tried to do is bring people in on loan who will cover us, not people who will take our first team places, which is a risk. I'm not going to lie, it's a real risk. We could quite easily end up going down without a fight. I also signed Fukic here, who is a Czechoslovakian 16-year-old defensive midfielder. Looks like he's going to be fantastic. Look at those stats. They're great. But he can't join us until 2024. So a little bit disappointing there. But I think he's one for the future. I think he's one who is going to keep getting better and better at 16. When by the time we get him, it'll be 18. we can then think about putting him into the first team. We might be back in the Championship by then. And then Hernandez we've had for a season already. He's not signing until 2023 in June, but again, looks like he's going to be good. We're training him to be I thought we were training him to be a midfielder, but also he played last season in the under-18s and did very, very well. Bad news is we're in debt, but we haven't had the TV money yet, so I think that should help. But the other bad news is that our first game of the season is Manchester City away, which is going to be a struggle, a real struggle. The champions of the Premier League versus the team promoted last season. Phil Foden's out, but then you can see our star player Bastoni is also out. We didn't actually go through the games that we played in the off season. I believe we come and do that in a second if we don't. Pretty successful. We played a number of games and won most of them. Most of the games we were expected to win, but we lost the big one against AC Milan, and that's the one that was kind of setting the barometer as to where we should be. As you can see, we've got quite a lot of players with potential, and then some players without any real ability yet, and that's a worry. Moving into this, I'm not entirely sure how we go about setting up our first team. You can see here that we can have a little look at the results. So we went to Austria on our pre-season tour and picked up 3 wins without conceding a goal. Pretty good. And then we played Carriova. Don't know how you say that. And drew 0-0. We then beat Sudbury 12-0. Sudbury are a local team, so we kind of expected to win that one. And then lost to Milan 1-0 with a goal in the 88th minute. And now, as you can see, our first game, the toughest game we could have wished for. Man City at the Etihad on the first weekend of the Premier League season. So I'm going to try and decide whether we play Calderon or Morrison. As you can see, Morrison and Calderon both seem to have the same level of stars in that defence. So I don't think it matters too much which one we play where. Calderon is far better as a defensive midfielder. So we're gonna eventually change him back there. We just reorganise our bench a little bit, just so we know what we're doing, and then we swap those two back round. And I think that's it for the team. I think we're ready to go. Just checking as to whether there's any better options on the bench. There isn't. We need to pick a number for Calderon. I think we give him number 5 in the end, because he's going to be sitting in that defensive midfielder / back 4, depending on when we need him. As you can see, the Man City team isn't too bad. John Stones, I mentioned that John Stones, I'm surprised John Stones hasn't been upgraded yet. Not to say that I'm not a huge fan of John Stones. I'm not a huge fan of John Stones. So I think it will be interesting to see how Man City do this year. I think they won last year by at least 10 points. And I think from our point of view, as long as we don't get an absolute hiding, we've got to be pleased. I mean, obviously I know what the result was, but I think from our point of view, anything coming here and losing respectably is nice. If you come here and you get thumped on the first game of the season, it makes it a real tough road to come back from. But let's get started. We do an interview. They're asking about contracts. I mean, I don't know about you, but not sure that's where you ask them on the tunnel on the way out for the game. I realise that the game's on way too fast because that's how I played the pre-season games. Let's move this back up here and let's change the right dial this time down to pretty normal speed, just a little hint of being a bit quicker. And there we go, giving away a penalty within 48 seconds. Not bad for us. It's normally late goals that we give away, but today we decided we'll give away an early goal. And the ref takes an age to get out of the way for Dybala to take this. And I think we all know what the result is going to be. I mean, I definitely know what the result is going to be, but I think we all know Dybala versus Holly. I think there's only one winner there, and there it is. 1-0 after 1 minute, 42 seconds. Not ideal for a newly promoted team. Tidy finish into that bottom corner. And there we go. We're off and running. Okay. So the first half, we try everything. We really do. But as you can see, 10 minutes in, we're not having a lot of the ball. We're not having a lot of forward momentum. We're not having a lot of anything. 20 minutes in, we still haven't had a shot. And you can see our players are starting to get a bit frustrated, a bit worried. We shout at them to demand a little bit more. We managed to get our first shot after 20 minutes. But this is pretty much how the first half plays out. We don't do a great deal. But the flip side of that, Man City don't do a lot either. And that's really good news for us, because it just means that we can keep pushing, keeping it tight, and we've always got a chance of getting something out of this game if it's only a goal. I mean, it's still unlikely, but 1 goal deficit coming into the last 10 minutes is massively different to 2 or 3. As you can see, we're starting to pick up yellow cards as we reach half time. It's 1-0 still to Man City. 13 shots to 2. We're really struggling to get hold of the ball. We tell the boys that that we're quite pleased with what they're doing. And that we also say that we don't think any of them played to their full potential. But I think from our point of view, we've got to be relatively pleased if it's only 1. And going into the second half, we get a second shot. I don't know if that was in the first half or the second. Pretty exciting stuff. And then it plays out very much the same way. It's quite a dull game. We make a couple of changes. We bring on Plesic for Downs, and we bring on Kubila for Bellingham, just to try and ease people into this first few games of the season. So we came into it not in fantastic shape. I mean, they're looking quite tired as well. And there's Kubila playing on the right wing. I don't think we mentioned him. He was in the youth team last season, and we've promoted him up just to cover those winger positions. I think that's the one thing I would say this season. Yeah, I think this season we're going to struggle with the numbers. We're really doing our best to improve our first team, but I think from a sheer strength in depth point of view, we're going to struggle. As you can see here, though, Esposito pounces on a mistake from Laporte. He's through, one-on-one with the keeper. Edison sprawls, makes a good save, and Man City clear. And then we have a corner to Man City after 63 minutes. De Bruyne takes it, and Dybala gets that cleared off the line by Crow. And then Kubila should be playing that pass to Esposito, but he goes all the way back to the goalkeeper. And there's Palmard. And we're quickly approaching the 20-minute left mark. We're thinking about bringing on Abbey. We're not 100% sure what to do at this moment in time. Free kick to Man City. Stones with the header, and a fantastic save by Holly. I'm almost made to eat my words regarding Stones and his level of ability. But thankfully we keep it tight, and De Bruyne has to go back to Edison. So we're now 21 minutes away from the 90-minute mark, and it's a pretty close game, even though they're all over us. We had our chance. We had our one chance of getting back into this. Here goes Mendy out wide. Bursts past the defender and then shoots straight at the keeper. Okay, and now we're picking up more bookings. We're going to make a change. Esposito is being replaced by Abbey, and we carry on. And let's have a little look. Crow takes the long throw straight to Mendy. There's De Bruyne, back to Mendy. The long throws are maybe not going to be as successful. All of our midfielders are pulled out of the midfield sort of area. We do manage to force them back a little bit. Laporte goes back to the keeper. Keeper back to Laporte, playing their way out of trouble. Again, back to the keeper. This time John Stones picks it up, but he plays a terrible pass, and there's Pacino who belts it into that top corner. First goal of the season for Ipswich Town. First goal of the season for Pacino at the Etihad. We're back on terms. Still a long way to go, but a fantastic finish. And a terrible, terrible error by John Stones playing that pass as Pacino pounced. And then Bosch have some of that right into that top corner. We absolutely go wild. The Ipswich fans go mad. 72 minutes gone. It's 1-1. Okay, we're into the 80th minute, and we decide now is probably the time to be a little bit more cautious, defend a little bit more solidly, and now we make the decision. It's time to be proper defensive. With 85 minutes to go on the clock, we decide that this is the moment for us to be as defensive as we can. And then Digney picks it up, starts running down the wing. Ball into Dybala, back to Digney, and then Dybala, and there's the goal. And it took a couple of minutes, and they're back in it, and we have to make a change back to our attacking formation in the hope that we can get something back from here. Way too easy, as you see. They just pass it twice in the box, and a good finish. Holly was there or thereabouts. Maybe a better keeper would have done better. But we haven't had the opportunity to upgrade him. We haven't got the money to upgrade him. I guess I shouldn't have spent £15 million on a 16-year-old, but I wanted for the future, and that's what I've gone for. Okay, here they come again. Tar out on the wing, ball across. Brand is there, volleyed in. It's 3-1. It's demoralising. It went from us being on level terms with the champions to us being 2 goals down to the champions in a matter of minutes. Very, very disappointed. Way too easy. No pressure on the cross. No pressure on the receiver of the cross. And there we go. Okay, 3-1. Picking up the defeat right here, right now. Don't know what else we can say other than we're a little bit unlucky. We tried hard, and I think we do say that it was a pleasing performance, mainly because we didn't get spanked. We made a debut. Our young team came unstuck. And that's what we're going to have to put up with. We've got a very, very young team out there today and for the rest of this season. We send our assistant to the press conference. And I think we're done. You can see we've got Newcastle coming up next. I don't know what games I'm going to bring you in the Premier League. Just mainly because they're all pretty big games. So who knows? We better get used to you losing, I think. But thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at ScottDogGaming. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.